The hate is out of control, you might say, for the Skins game which just aired today. So at 9 a.m. Eastern Time at Panther National, the Skins game, after a 17-year hiatus, has returned. And it aired on Amazon Prime, which you probably didn't see. And I'm sure most people didn't. Now, we're going to go through it. But looking at the comments on social media, just go search for yourself. It appears as though this was a huge flop. Based on the comments, I want to know what your thoughts are from the Skins game. If you watched it, or if you didn't watch it, or if you didn't even know it was going on, but it was on. So let me know your thoughts on that. Like, was it a flop or not a flop? We want to also know, and we're going to dive into some things that can make it better. And if not, they should even continue with this thing, because we'll see. We'll see if they continue based on the ratings, which we will never truly know. It aired on Amazon Prime, and multiple reasons I'm guessing for this. One is so that there could be replays and you could go back and watch it at your leisure after it airs. Versus, let's say it was on NBC, then it's on and then it's gone. And there's really no rerun of it or no way to see it again unless it's just online. So that's probably one of the main reasons, to continue to get views down the road. Also, that's the only reason I can think of. So, I do have another one, more conspiracy theory, in the fact that if it airs on network television, we would know the ratings. The fact that it airs on Amazon Prime, we, the public, don't and probably won't know the exact viewership numbers. So that may or may not be another reason they went this direction. But we will never know the real numbers unless, of course, they get millions of views. Then they're going to tell us right away. But I'm going to guess, my hunch is that the live viewer numbers were low. And when I say low, I'm definitely going under 100,000. Definitely. I would probably put the number in the 20,000 view range. That's just my guess. No way of knowing unless they reveal the actual true numbers. But I'm sure they will if the numbers spike over 1 million. And given the fact that it's on Amazon, that's good. So if you missed it, you can go to Amazon Prime and see it in the future. So we had Xander Schauffele, who, spoiler alert here, got zero skin, so he made no money. We had Keegan Bradley, big winner, Shane Lowry, and we had Tommy Fleetwood. So those are the four. Everybody made money except for Xander. He's only one, but whatever. Here's what was missing, in my opinion, and we're going to go through, and I'm not just going to beat up what I think it was missing, but I'm going to give constructive ideas as to what I think it could add to help me, the viewer, you, all of us, the viewer. One is, I never felt a nervous tension from the competitors when they were putting for large amounts of money. For example, Tommy Fleetwood had a putt at the last hole for over $1 million. Tommy Fleetwood has missed that putt for years when it came to winning a PGA Tour event. He missed them all. He finally won this year. Finally. After all those, he finally got a tour win. But he had opportunities earlier this year, which he missed. So he missed them all. So he just poured this one right in the center of the cup. No big deal. Zero nerves. Not once did I look into those competitors' eyes and see the look that I saw in Frankie Borelli's eyes when he had that chip on the 18th hole at Paynes Valley to have to get it up and down to have a chance at the $1 million first place prize. I never saw that look in any of these guys' eyes. You look at Frankie's eyes, and then he sculls it over the green into the water. Just like that tension never existed. These professionals just had nothing. Like, it was not a big deal. And we won a big deal. Like, that adds to the excitement from the viewer's point of view. That's what I say. So I felt like that was something that was missing. How do you get that? I don't know when you're giving these players, they all started with $1 million in their bank. And then they would win or lose their money based on a skin. So if a guy wins 100,000, then, 25,000 comes out of each person's account and he's up, that money. So it kind of fluctuates up and down. None of it really was, they had no skin in the game. It's skins. You have no skin in the game. So therefore, really no pressure. But if it's a lot of money that you need more pressure. These guys don't need it. So it's just like a bonus, which is fine. That's fine too. One thing I was wondering about when I watched this was this. Did Capital One, the title sponsor, get their money's worth? And we might not know, because I'm not 100% convinced that the prize money and the $4 million came from them. We don't know. We assume it was because they're the title sponsor and it came from them and a bunch of others. But we don't really know. All we know is they're the title sponsor. So again, conspiracy kind of, theories run through my mind is this. The PGA Tour has kind of shrunk down events over the years. They made some elevated events and some less important events. They got rid of the Century Tournament of Champions coming up early next year. That's gone next year. We'll see if it even returns, which I doubt. So they've gotten rid of stuff and they've lowered the number of tour cards available. And so sponsors from each event get less and less and less. But if the tournament's more valuable, then they kind of get more. But for the ones that go from like a good event to a devalued event, what happens to them? So my theory is this, and I don't know if it's true or not, I'm just speculating here. I wonder if the skins game was kind of a bundle, meaning, hey, you sponsor these events, we'll make you the title sponsor of the skins game. Or we'll give you free sponsorship. Or what happens in the YouTube space a lot is, hey, we'll pay you to make a video on our product or something like that. And if the video gets this many views, you get a bonus. So in other words, if it doesn't hit a certain number, then I don't get the bonus. So I'm wondering if the bonus for Capital One, they got a bonus because they didn't get the viewership in other events that they were part of. Like, hey, we'll sponsor this event and we'd like, 5 million views over the week or whatever it is. And we got 4 million. So, okay. So now you get the skins game title sponsorship because we didn't hit your number here. So we'll give it back to you on the back end over here. I wonder if that's how it works. I don't know. But if it does work like that, then the money's coming from where? Well, we don't know. Could be the PGA Tour. It could be whatever. Could be they paid in advance for something else, and then this money is just, they already paid it over here, but they didn't get what they paid for, so they get something here. And so we don't know for sure where the money actually comes from, or even how it's divvied up. Is it some type of equity stake in something? Is it stock value? I don't know. Are they getting a check? Probably, but who knows? There's a lot that we don't know about this thing. So that's why I'm wondering, why would they put out a product that is identical to every week on the PGA Tour when we're so used to, and they've seen it, things that really work and shine highly in the world of golf exciting content. Like, they've had plenty of time to look at the things that have been successful. The Internet Invitational, the most successful thing all year. The Creator Classics were pretty good. The Live Duels, great. Other YouTube content videos have been excellent. They could look at those and say, okay, what works? What doesn't work? I mean, it's right there in front of you. So what works is, in between shots, cut to the cart cam. You're driving to your ball. Why not? Instead of cutting to commercial, which I guess it makes sense if you're having to pay $4 million plus all the salaries of people that were contributing, announcers, security guards, people at the course, booking the course, all those, fees. I guess you have to run commercials. So maybe you want those opportunities to fire more ads on the commercial side. So maybe you want that. But if you don't, if you really want engagement and excitement, you would cut to what works, which is in that card cam. Wouldn't that be cool? Tommy Fleetwood riding to the next hole with Xander Schauffele, and they're reading maybe a cue card right in front of the camera that has a question that they're going to ask. And once they answer the question, they throw that card away and there's another one behind it, and so on and so forth, to keep the action moving and to keep the interest. Because what I felt we were missing again was the interaction between contestant, player, and audience, me, and all the viewers. YouTube videos have that all the time because you're telling the camera, all right, I got 165 here. I'm hitting an 8-iron and try to cut it in. You're telling me, the viewer, what's going on. That never happened. They had some interaction, and Xander was pretty funny. But early on, you had, I think, Peter Jacobson say, this is an opportunity for us to get to know the player and their personality. Like, we see them every week playing golf, but this is an opportunity for them to showcase their personality. One person kind of did that. Xander did that. But in a whole, we don't really get that. We got the same thing week in and week out. And there were just barriers blocking the player from showcasing their personality. One was cutting to commercial so often and not letting us go along for the ride in the cart. You're not going to do walking because that's a different, it just doesn't work as well. But in the cart, it works really, really well. So it was right there. It's been done a million times. Just throw that in there. But then you're going to lose money on the advertising. But whatever, there's other ways to integrate it into the broadcast, a la Internet Invitational and Dunkin' Donuts. They did it perfectly. There's plenty of ways to do that. They didn't. So that was one barrier. Another barrier I was thinking about was this. Every YouTube video and Internet Invitational, Creator Classic, all that stuff, for the most part, well, mostly YouTube videos, especially let's go Internet Invitational, they really don't have caddies, right? They don't have a caddy. It's just them and their bag. And so a player is going to have a caddy that they're pretty comfortable with and they know. So when it's time for them to do anything, they're going to lean into their friend or their caddy. That's their comfort zone. And we don't want that. We want the comfort zone to be the camera. We want it to be us. We're trying to get to know them. And so when you have a barrier in there, even a caddy, it's taking away from us authentically getting to be familiar with the player. And I think that's what makes a lot of these YouTube videos work. So those are some of the barriers, I think, that really hurt the skins game, because it really just looked like the skins game from the past. The only difference was, and it's not a knock on the announcers or anything, but just remember, there used to be Vin Scully as an announcer for this, like, all world. Mike Tirico used to be part of it. Where was that guy? Where are the all world sports announcers? Not just golf announcers, but all world announcers. I love Colton Oast. I love Peter Jacobson. I love the announcers. But when you level it up a bit and you bring in somebody like a Vin Scully, right? Then it takes it to a whole new level. Tirico is at the Masters. When you add a guy like that, maybe they couldn't afford him. I don't know what the case was, but that's another level that adds to it. But again, announcers are barriers between the viewer and the player, and it blocks that relationship. That's why YouTube is thriving and the YouTube content golf space is soaring, is because all those barriers are removed, mainly because you can't afford it. Like, I can't bring an announcer to make with my video. I mean, it could, but that'd be weird, right? It just wouldn't work. It'd be awkward. And people are like, who's that guy? It might be kind of funny though once, but we wouldn't do it. So we got to start removing these barriers so that we can get to know the tour players a lot better, if that's the direction we're going to go. So I want to know your thoughts of things that can make this better, if it's even worthwhile pursuing it. A lot of comments were, it's a money grab. They're just after money. And maybe I don't know. That could be, I mean, if there's $1 million, we're all going to show up. Something that might be interesting would be if they had to bring their own money to the table to be a part of this, or if they think the Internet Invitational with those 48 players, what if 48 people showed up with a bundle of their own cash? Do you want to be in the next one? How much are you going to pony up? $5,000, 10, like what's the buy-in for a content creator? That raises the stake, and it makes you think like, is this something I want to do or not want? They have all the money, the tour guys. Why not show up with their own bundle of dough? That would be interesting. That'd be a whole nother level. I don't know if we'd believe it if they did it, like, that's just fake. But if it's real, that's more exciting than just money, growing off a tree. Now, this was put together by Chad Mumm, executive producer. He's been involved in many successful golf, broadcasts, such as the Netflix Full Swing. And he's been part of that. He's been part of Happy Gilmore 2 and a number of other things, him and his Pro Shop Studios. So he headed this thing up and brought it back to life. And I think the question are the sponsors getting what they, hoped for out of the viewership of the Skins game? Because that's really what it's about. Did they get their money's worth? Because I think that's why I have the other conspiracy theory, because if they're not, then they wouldn't do it. That's why the Skins game disappeared to begin with, because the sponsors were pulling out because they weren't getting the views. So the only other way they would go in is if, one, the views were there, or that's my conspiracy, if it was a back end push by the PGA Tour because they didn't hit benchmarks during the season. So you're the sponsors. We're doing this anyways. You're the sponsors. It's really PGA Tour money coming in to fund it. That's why I think, because it wouldn't exist if they're not getting the views. The sponsors would not just shell out all that dough. You could actually shell out that money and do the Internet Invitational. Those views are public, over 23, 5, 30 million views by now from that. That's value. So it's going to be curious to what the future holds for this event, as well as moving forward in 2026, what we're going to see. Your thoughts are greatly appreciated. I read them. Those in the powers that put this stuff together, read them too. So I appreciate you guys and your intellect and your insights. Thanks so much for taking the time to comment and respond. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Newsletter below too, so you can stay up to date with discounts and deals that we send out all the time. Peace.